You know what's one of the fastest ways that you as an interior designer head to burnout? It's saying yes too often to the wrong kinds of projects or the wrong kinds of people for you, right? Because when you don't have clear boundaries, you end up with projects that the clients have fuzzy goals, there's mismatched expectations, all good humans, but not good alignment. Well, I'm so delighted to tell you that we have a solution for this. At Lou University this year, we have a brand new class. It's being taught by Dixie Willard, and it's called Developing Your Project Qualification Criteria. Dixie is going to help you define what done looks like so that you can turn burnout red flags into must-ask intake questions, right? She's going to help you go through your past data to create a new way to go through for you that works. All right. She's also going to help you break budgets into time versus product so that you can set realistic boundaries. Imagine this. Picture onboarding only right fit clients who energize you, respect your process, and align with your vision. Sound amazing? I know. Well, head over to luannuniversity.com now because we are in early bird registration. It is open through August 29th and classes start in September. Go to luannuniversity.com. Let's change that feeling of, is this client a right fit? Is this project a right fit? To slam dunk, can't wait to get started. That's luannuniversity.com. Welcome to A Well-Designed Business. My name is Luann Nigara, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company WindowWorks from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Before we get into today's episode, I want to let you know that we're doing something a little different over the next several months. We're bringing back the most downloaded, the most talked about episodes from the last 9 years of A Well-Designed Business. These are the episodes that built businesses, that sparked aha moments, that turned you into an action taker. Now, if you're wondering why we're revisiting these episodes and what's changing with the show overall, well, I walk you through the full vision in our April 25th, 2025 episode titled The Big Shift, What's Changing on a Well-Designed Business and Why. That episode is linked for you in the show notes. Now, a quick heads up. These episodes are airing as they originally did. That means the music might sound familiar or it might be vintage. That means the event dates will definitely be out of date that I talk about. And it also means that any offers that are mentioned may or may not be valid still. But the insights, still golden. So whether it's your first time hearing this episode or your fifth time hearing it, there's something in this conversation for you right now in this season of your business. So here's the show. I hope you enjoy it. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. Today's show is a good one because although my guest, Laurence Carr, only opened her firm in the last 18 months at the time of this recording, she is running it like the CEO boss lady that she certainly is. I'll bet you $10 if I didn't tell you when she opened her firm, you would have guessed by the clarity and the purpose in which she describes her firm and how she runs it that she's at it 10, 15, even 20 years. Laurence has her vision straight, her business plan clear, and her goals right in front of her. I'm certain no matter if you are one of my hashtag baby designers or hashtag rising designers or even a hashtag seasoned designer, you are going to learn something and you are going to be as impressed by Laurence as I am. You know what else impresses me? Article.com does. Article has their trade division so locked down. Quality products, great price points, attention to details that make it easier for you to do what you do. So things like efficient delivery and return policies, and lots of fantastic mid-century styled furniture, all ready for you to specify for your next design project. Open your trade account today and place your orders now to have delivery before the holidays. Go to welldesigned.article.com. That's welldesigned.article.com. Now, in the interview today, Laurence and I got so involved in her business plan and how she has gotten her firm up and running so quickly that we didn't get much chance to talk about how she is a leading voice in the field of holistic interior design, with current features in Forbes, The Wall Street Journal, Business of Home, Domino, Apartment Therapy, Sotheby's Homes, House Tipster, and Style Matters. Laurence is contributing to shaping our cultural dialogue through these publications, as well as her blog, Beyond Aesthetics, and her speaking engagements. In 2019, she won the Build Award from Homes and Gardens UK, was nominated for the ASID National Awards 2019 for Design for Humanity, and Laurence was invited to be one of the 30 speakers of the Circular City Week in New York in March, and she hosted a successful event with sustainable bedding company Coco Mat. Also in the summer of 2019, Laurence Carr Design revealed the Restorative Room with great success for the Hampton Designers Show House in Southampton, New York. All right, so I am looking forward to introducing you to Laurence. It's an awesome conversation, and it really tells you and shows you what the potential is for getting your firm off the ground right away when you put the plan and the foundation in place to do exactly that. All right, let me introduce you to Laurence Carr. Hi, Laurence. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Hi, Luan. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Laurence, you have come out of the gate running with your interior design business here as we're recording this in the fall, almost the fall of 2019. You are in business. You started April 2018, and your business looks much more mature than that when not only I look at the website, but I also have a conversation with you off air about all of the initiatives that you've got going on in your business. And so I'm excited about this, Laurence, because so many times a designer will say to me, it's been a year, it's been 2 years, and I really, I cannot get the thing going on, and I'm still struggling to have some confidence that there's going to be clients in the pipeline. But I've learned that you do a lot of intentional things. It's not happening by accident. So tell me, to begin with, it sounds like to me that you probably, when you decided to open your design firm, I didn't ask you this before, but my guess is you sat down with some key people and laid out a strategy for your business. Is that the case? Because it just seems very well thought out.
Oh, thank you. Yes, that's exactly what I did. I started by designing the entire business model. I recruited an advisory board made of a design strategy consultant, and laid out my business model and explained, this is what I would like to do. This is a business model that I'm thinking about launching. What are your thoughts? What are the pros? What are the cons? What should I think about? So that's how I started thinking about the business model. And then I launched the business, as you said, in April 2018.
So what's so funny is I suspected that you had done something similar because of the way there are so many well thought out components of your website and your business. However, I just thought you were going to say, yes, my husband, my sister, my best friend. So you actually gathered an advisory board. And was it people and friends like that you respected, or was it design professionals? That's curious that you called it an advisory board.
No, that's truly a thought process. I truly ask friends who work well. As you know, I lived in different parts of the world, and so I have friends who are in the finance world, in the business strategy, management, mainly executives, and then some creative. And so I picked a few different friends, one in the marketing area, another one in the venture capital fundraising area, and another one in a really creative online brand, and I gave it this free, and just really ask them to be part of my advisory board from day one for my business. And so we meet quarterly. We have online meetings, and we reassess the business, not only the business plan, the business strategy, what should be thought about, and we've been continuing doing this since the first day.
Wow. It doesn't what's interesting is it, on one hand, just what in our pre-air conversation, which didn't include any of that, but I learned so quickly in 15 minutes what a good business foundation you had. So on one hand, I should not sit here and be surprised, but on the other hand, I am so impressed at the level that you took that to. And I'm thinking, I should have done that with the podcast. It'd be awesome to check in with these, a finance person, a marketing person, a creative. Of course, I've developed my team of experts around me and my dream team around me, but I love the intentionality around this. So okay. So now this is me just now I just have to know for curiosity. Is it that do they own a piece of your business? Do they do this out of the goodness of their heart? Do you take them to dinner? This is quarterly. This is an official thing. What is the agreement there for something like that, to have an advisory board of people like this?
So usually, I mean, if they live in the same city as you, or same, area as you, what I heard is that, well, for years I've been going to, business, women entrepreneur business meetings, or I've been part of a few groups. What I learned is that with advisory board, they get paid. They can get paid, or you can, as you said, offer them dinner. But usually you get paid.
Yeah.
It could be $250 a yearly. It can go up to $500. This is what I learned in New York City women entrepreneurial networks. Now, of course, this rate can vary depending on where you live and how large the city is in the U.S. or overseas. Now, my advisory board are composed of longtime friends, successful entrepreneurs or career women who have made it to the executive level, and have been kind enough to accept that, to be part of a board.
Isn't that something? I love that. You know what it is? It reminds me and makes me think of when you have a high-level mastermind like that, where you get people that have all reached a certain point in their career, and it just have this great benefit of being able to collaborate with them and check in with them quarterly, monthly, whatever it is. But this is like a mastermind where it's all about you. It's like, we're not here to talk about your business, sweetie. It's all about mine. I love that. But you know what the thing is, I'm now, see, I always want to think about how could somebody listening make this work for them as well. And so maybe it is that you get 2 or 3 people that and one meeting, like maybe you do meet quarterly, right? And 1 week in the first quarter, it is all about one of your businesses. And then the second week you meet for 2 hours and it's all about the others. And if that's the give back, right? Because there has to be a come see, come saw, right?
Absolutely. No, I was about to say, I mean, some of them are thinking of doing, they're launching their business. So of course, and then it's I reciprocate.
Yes.
That's what we're doing to each other. And that's wonderful.
I love it. It's a funny thing because I have, learned many, many years ago the value of gathering with people both inside and outside of your industry in a way that is non-competitive and that is just think tank feeling. We have that with Exciting Windows now for Window Works. We meet once a month on the telephone. We meet twice a year in person at different cities around the U.S. And we just came back recently from meeting in Chicago, and it's literally 3.5 days from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night. And we just talk about ideas on how to grow our business and help each other with each thing. And so there's many different ways to access the brain power of other people. But I love that when you launched your business, you looked around at your friends and their superpowers and literally said, would you agree to review what I have as an idea for a business plan? Would you tweak it with me? Would you brainstorm it with me? And would you commit to doing that with me 4 times a year? That's awesome, Laurence. I love that.
Thank you. Yes, that's great to hear WindowWorks is doing that. I mean, I've always thought that, this think tank and really gathering around these are very important. I actually do that on a regular basis, and as you said, actually a lot of my inspiration and sort of my strategy for business models have been inspired by businesses outside the design industry.
Yeah, I definitely know there's value both ways to be in a group, a mastermind, and have an advisory, whatever it is, of both inside and outside, because sometimes it's the outside view because we get very focused on the way we do things, and another industry. You know what I always say? It's like when your kids were little and you have to make dinner every single night, right? And don't you find that as human beings, as mothers, as fathers, and both of my kids' houses, the husbands, my son-in-laws are both the cooks, so goes both ways. But we all tend to have our 4 or 5 meals that we make every single week in and week out, right? We might tweak it a little bit, but you have those 4 or 5 meals that you're always like, okay, what are we having tonight? Oh, it's that. And I remember I used to say to my girlfriends, what are the 5 meals that you make? Because they're completely different than mine. Can we all just come one day and 4 of us switch our 5 meals, and then we'll have 20 meals. And so we don't have to make the same darn thing every week. And that's the same way when you get together with people that are successful, but in different industries, because they do something the same way and have success with it, but it's a whole eye-opening thing. We're like, wait, I could do that in my industry, right?
Yes.
And maybe we never thought of it, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yes. I love it. Now I'm even more excited because I love anything that's this well thought out and this plan. And so, okay, so you have this idea. And the reason that I had a suspicion that you did is because in a year and a half's time, you have done a lot of intentional things. So in the beginning, I already learned that you blogged every single week for the beginning. And now you're down to 2 times a month. But even 2 times a month, when your business is getting busy and the design clients are there, and I happen to know you have 3 teenagers, that's a big commitment 2 times a month. Okay. And then you have e-design, and you have a newsletter, you have a social media platform. You've also already working with PR agents. So these are all things that tell me that this is not happening by accident, that I'm sitting down and I'm strategically planning how I am letting the world know that I have put up a shingle and I am an interior designer. Right?
That is right. Yes. So I decided from day one to have this business model with direct design work for high-end residential and hospitality project. So this is more like the full service or consultation projects. And then the other aspect of the business was to from day one build an online presence. Because to me, in the 21st century, it is unthinkable not to use, the technology and how we live. This is how the environment is, the business environment is is current, and it will only become more developed that way. I decided to have within my website a blog and a newsletter, and then develop these affiliated marketing, which are in fact the whole thought process of that business model is how to build a business that will have different revenue streams. That is just, in fact, the first question. And that's how I designed it.
Okay, so this is what you started with when you started to think about your business for yourself. And then, of course, you invited this advisory board to help you. It's how to build a business that has multiple revenue streams. That was the premise right there.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so what I love is that we're building the business model first, and then we're figuring out through conversation and through advice what is going to work specifically for your business and how are you going to position it, and then how are you going to build it out. So you decide that, first of all, what's very near and dear to you is this niche of wellness design and sustainability. That's important to you as a human being, right, Laurence?
That's right. That's okay. Absolutely important for me, and for the future of our planet, which, of course, include the people and how we make products, yes, it's the triple bottom line, definitely.
Right. And so the thing is that the lesson in there is, I'm sure there was at some point where you said, if I'm going to be an interior designer, what is the avenue, what is the aspect of design that really is passionate and speaks to me? So it wasn't like, hey, my advisor said that this is the next hot thing for the planet, let me lean into it, right? Like you have to own that, right?
Yes, absolutely. And in that, I wanted to address what I say as, the two crises I think we need to really think through right now is one is about, how people are stressed, the level of anxiety and how it affects our everyday life. And so that to me was an aspect in well-being, which I think is really important to address, and as not enough out there, is how to create well-being through design, and specifically because we tend to think too much on the product and the aesthetic and how does it look good. Well, how about how does it feel good? That's the number one. And then the other component, which is also as important, and as we just mentioned, for the present actually, and the future of our planet, is the sustainable aspect. How can we make the right choice for our interiors and actually outdoors as well when we design.
And the thing about it is the message here is to really get very clear with yourself as to what does light your fire up, what does make you feel passionate about your profession, because if you're intentional the way you are, and you know that you're going to launch with a blog 4 times a month and you're going to have a newsletter, this is a lot of content that has to be created. So you can't say, well, this is a hot topic, let me talk about this. It has to be something that drives you to really sit down and do this content creation, so that you then are creating this platform, this online platform that goes back to your original goal, which is how to build a business with multiple revenue streams. So for another designer, it might be children's decor. For another designer, it might be whatever. But for you, it's this, and that's the connection. And that's where, like I said, it's just driving this much content in order to say, yes, this is the online platform I want to create. Now, I understand that in this short 18 months or so that you have built your email list to nearly or just over 3,000 people at this point. That's no small feat.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so tell us about that. So you are putting the content on the blog. I did notice on your website that you have a 4-page mini mag, and I suspect that that's from Leslie and Sam at Savor Partnership. Did that you work with them?
So on a panel, and that's where we connected. Since then, I've just followed her even more so through content online, and joined her Facebook group.
Yeah.
And then we decided to work together and create this e-boutique magazine. I found enormous value on creating that. It's again, it all has to do with online, supporting my brand, my voice. What is my message to my customers and to my followers? What do I have to say, and how can this e-book magazine, actually it's more, as she calls it, an email opt-in, can support my message.
Right. Now, tell me about going. Yes. And first of all, we know that Leslie and Sam also created the e-magazine for WindowWorks as well. And so I'm firsthand 100% endorse the process of going through that with them. Tell me about, you launch a website April 2018, you start to create the content. How do you attract the people to sign up to your list before you had this e-magazine? Because it sounds like that came later, or was it slow moving and this has been the lead generator, or did you post to Pinterest and back to your blog? Like, people are going to want to know how you actually grew that email list, Laurence.
Yes, of course. I worked for a firm before. I worked for Mac2, a firm that is based in New York City, and it's called Mac2, MAC2, and led by the great, legendary Mika Ertigan, who founded her firm in the 60s with late partner Chasey Reiner, and she's been running that firm ever since. And so it's a high-end luxury residential and hospitality firm, but particularly focused more on residential in the in the recent years. So I worked with Mac2, and that's where I built my network. I would say my essential network with showrooms and brands and clients from Mac2. So I definitely brought that network with me and started my newsletter email list with that network that I had accumulated. The other thing I would say is that I went to Parsons because this is let's say my third career, and when I went to Parsons to study, I also built a network within there, I would say, between the faculty members and all the different people that I met who came from different careers. So I brought that in as well.
Okay, so basically what you're saying is, I just started with my own network of family, friends, acquaintances, career colleagues, and invited them to read my blog. And possibly, I guess what happens is little by little, they start to share it with other people, start to tell other people, and it starts to grow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, but I would say it's mainly professional. I mean, I wouldn't say so much family and friends. I would definitely say it's career related.
Career related. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. All right. Terrific. Okay. So you run the design firm and you are doing luxury full service design. Okay. I understand that your business model for that is that you are a sole owner of your firm and you will access career design professionals, colleagues, on a as needed project basis. So rather than have a full team on staff all the time, you hire out design professionals based on the projects in your pipeline. Tell us a little bit about why you do that and where and how you know that you have a good list of go-to designers that you can call on when you do maybe get 2 or 3 big projects at the same time, or whatever creates the need for having help for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Right. Again, it's all about the business model that I want to run. So focusing on the design work, I particularly think, because I'm running this kind of a double business, one design work traditional and then the other online. I have to make some decisions, whether am I going to go full time and grow a team that is going to be on the design work, and how much time do I have, versus allocating some time on what I call my online business. So where I'm at, and with a number of projects that I can handle, that makes sense to align with my high expectation and the way I want to deliver a project. So right now, I feel that the best avenue is to hire freelance designers who embark on the project per project. So I'm on full-time with my firm. I have a full-time assistant who works with me, and then we hire per project freelance designers.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes. Well, you did, and I just want to say that I love that you start with, I think about what is the business model I want to have, and you ask, do I want to, work full-time myself and grow a full team? And when you come to the answer, you're like, that's not what I prefer to do. So you work full time, you have a full-time assistant, but it's a conscious decision that you're making. See, that's the little nudge in there for me. It's not like, oh, I don't have more people on my team because I didn't get around to it. I don't have more people on my team because I'm too busy to hire them, or I didn't think about it. You consciously are deciding that's not the business model that I want. And so therefore, between the two of you, when you need extra help, you go out and you hire freelance designers for it. Am I understanding it correctly?
Yeah, that's where we are now after a year. A year and a few months, that's where we are right now. Then I think at some point, with the work coming our way, probably will grow that side of a business, definitely. But this is where we are after over a year of business, and that's the business model right now.
Okay. And when you are looking for these freelance designers, where do you're in New York City? Do they sometimes work remotely for you? Do you access remote freelance designers, or do you strictly work with designers that are in New York City and can come to your office and work with you and collaborate for the length of a project, or how does that work?
Oh, no, I specifically work with designers who are in New York City and can come to our office. This is specifically very important for the design concept part of a project. The design research and how we will work on the concept together. We need to see, we need to touch, we need to feel these different parts of the project. The design board, the whole research. So at some point we need to meet. Can they work remotely once we work on CAD, once we work on Adobe, different platforms for the design concept that is online? Yes, for sure. But we need to meet. So it's a requirement that I can actually located near New York City or in New York City.
Okay. And advice for working with freelancers as a business model. Do you personally have your design process, the way you take a client through your process, very clear and enunciated, so that when someone comes to work for you on a per project basis, they work in your system? Or are you more loosey-goosey about it and you just kind of do it as you go? How does that happen?
No, absolutely not.
I had a feeling. It was a trick question.
I'm all about systems. I love your podcast for that. I just love your content.
There's some people I'm talking to, I already know the answer, even if I didn't ask it off air.
No. It's all about systems. Yeah. I mean, what is a business without systems?
Right. It's a you. That's what I always say. You don't have a business, you have a you.
So no, very rigorous. No, and we have meetings. We have weekly meetings. I have weekly meetings with all my teams, all the people who work with me, whether it's the online team, whether it's the more traditional, design team. It's weekly meetings. It's numerous verification steps, for different projects.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Right, because the thing is, I would think that it's even more important to have your process very clear and defined for yourself, for you and your assistant, for when you do have those freelancers come in, because it's your name on the door and it's your client and it's your referral that's in the hands of the work product that they're doing. And if they run amok and they do it the way they do it, or they do it the way the last firm they worked at does it, that's not the same as the way you run a project. And that's very important, because there's a lot of, like, we recently had a conversation with Nicole Heimer on the podcast, the founder of Curio Electro, and she's
Yes.
a brand expert, right? And so the thing is, she was teaching us how our brand, her words are, our brand is found in the nooks and crannies. The brand of your business is found in every way you touch a client. And so the simple truth is, it's very important when you do hire freelancers, if they have work product that is going to be seen by a client, if they are even part of meetings that maybe clients are part of, or if they are representing you for measures and site visits, that they do it the way you do it, because that is all sending a message. Do you agree with that, Laurence?
Oh, I agree 100%. Actually, part of defining my business in the very beginning, I worked very deeply into the brand. I really spent a lot of time on that. It was key to the message. It's where you start, is that who you are, how do you pass your message to your client, who new niches, who are you targeting? I mean, there's like so many components, as well as what are all the touch points that are going to be, with your clients, and how do you define each of them? I actually worked with that with July Molloy in the very beginning.
Okay.
We did a brand design. I totally agree, Luann. This is just so important. And it's a work in process. I constantly have to do it and verify every touch point with clients, from online to person to person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, and that's exactly what she says. It's all the touch points. Those exact words is what she said. All the touch points, and I love that. Yeah, you were only halfway through, and you're already getting a hashtag smart lady. I'm just gonna say. So, all right. So now take me a little bit further through. I'm sure there are two types of designers listening. One designer that is thinking about, this accessing of the freelance talent in our industry, and the other designer that's thinking, how do I get to be that freelance talent? So where do you find your network? And I'm sure at this point you probably have a little roster of people that have worked with you before, and not necessarily that everybody listening should send you an email and want to work for you. But the point is, tell us, if someone is listening and thinking, I'd love to get more experience, or I'd like to just not have the responsibility of running a firm, but I'd love to be able to be this valuable freelance person for a firm like yours. What are the traits that you look for when you are first encountering them? What are you looking for in a resume? What are you looking for in personality? Tell us a little bit about that process.
Oh, yes. So the first thing I would say is that, where do I find them? I use my resources. So I went to Parsons. Through Parsons, I found a whole roster of designers who just are looking for work. And I tend to look for those who had a previous experience in the industry, or and then needed to go back for a degree, or came from outside the industry and are using their their career experiences to contribute to the design industry. I also, I'm a member of the IIDA, I'm a member of ASID, I'm about to become a Well Up. I mean, look, all the people I meet, then I always meet designers who, it's an industry where a lot of people, change jobs. There's a lot of movement within that. So, connection is very important, and I can, and I meet these people, and they're always, it's always great. So that's how I collect, sometimes it's organic and sometimes it's just really intentional and filling out a form. Within an industry that provides that service, that access. Now, what are the traits that I look for? In certain maturity, definitely flexibility in the way these designers work, how organized they are. Do I feel that they are organized enough and have a mindset that reflects flexibility enough to organize themselves to provide the work that I would ask them on the time, on time. Will they be able to, how much experience do they have? I mean, definitely, I'll be looking for, whatever their tech skills, CAD, Adobe, InDesign, Illustrator, how can they use those, and so on, So that's definitely some of the skills that I would be looking for. And also, who do they work for? Who did they work for or with? And what are their knowledge of brands and, in lighting, from lighting to texture to fabrics to accessories, like the whole 9 yards.
Okay. And what do you do when you are first interviewing and maybe coming across somebody that maybe you did meet at an ASID meeting or an IDS meeting or something like that? Do you have some sort of process in the interviewing where you ask them to perform a couple of tasks and see if they can get it done timely? What sort of question? How do you actually vet them before they're in the middle of a project with you and you think, oh, you're not that organized? Like, how do you know ahead of time?
I do it. I always ask them. So I have a very specific interview process, but I also ask them to produce a project,
okay.
Meaning like an example of a project, for a client, and we come up depending on the experience, in the residential field or hospitality field or commercial field. Some do a lot of commercial, and then just really ask them to produce a project. And some, do it on the evening of the same day, and then some do it like 3, 4, 5 days or even a week after. So that tells me the motivation, that tells me the ability to deliver something fast. And of course, within that presentation that is sent to me an email, I can see the skills and understand, it's all about how you present yourself. So even that talks about it, the level of font, the size of the font, the color, the scheme, the mood board, what has been thought through, the CAD skills, the InDesign, Illustrator suites, how did they put it together? I can just see it.
Wow, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. So you really are getting, in all of that, you're not only getting an idea of their technical skill using those different platforms, you're getting an idea of their aesthetic skill as far as the design, but you're also getting an idea of their work product pride, right? How do they present it to you? Like you said, the font, the colors and everything, in just making the product available to you, do they really, because it is so telling, right? So you're an interior designer, and it's not just the room that you design, it's the way you walk in and explain the room that you design. It's all the details. And so you're saying that you're not just looking at the details of the board that they design, but every detail connected from creating it to presenting it to showing it, yada, yada.
That's right.
I love it. Okay, good. All right. So now let's talk about your e-design platform, because you said from the beginning, your business model, your number one goal was to have multiple revenue streams. And to support the e-design platform, you knew that you needed to create an email list, which you did intentionally by such an amazing amount of blogging and creating a newsletter. But you also have an e-boutique on your website. And I know that we had a conversation with Leslie, and I'll put the episode number in the show notes, where she mentioned platforms like Pepper Jam and VigLink, and that is what you're utilizing too. This sort of, everybody hates when we use the word curate anymore, but the idea is sometimes the word is just the right word, right?
Yes,
so you're curating products out in the greater world and putting them on your website. And when somebody clicks to buy, they're not buying a cart from your website. It's taking them back to the individual platform that they come from, and you're getting an affiliate payment from that, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes.
So the point is that we don't have to create a cart on our own website, but we do. I notice that, and I'm not at all surprised, but I noticed that everything in your e-boutique does echo all of the principles that are important to you as a designer. So it seems like that, to your point of sustainability and organic and wellness. So tell us a little bit about that whole platform and your philosophy on it and how you execute it.
Okay. So you're specifically asking the thought process in terms of the aesthetic choice, or
yes,
more
like another...
the system of how I use VigLink versus Pepper Jam?
I think actually I would love to know a little bit of both. So let's start with what do you think starts first? The physical, how to set it. Let's do that. Do that first. So we have Pepper Jam and VigLink. You set up an account with these places, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. So you set up an account as with your company credentials, and so you have to give all this admin information, and then I contact my web designer and give her, of course, all this login, and then we will explain specifically which brand I will work with. So once I have selected these brands that I work with, then I will select specific products that will align with the messaging of my brand, that are preferably holistic, and as well as, have some sustainable approach or eco-friendly, safe process, the way they make products, or have that messaging about well-being. And then I make this selection, and specifically I make this selection with that will align with the season. For instance, now we are in fall, so these selections have been made sometime in August. But then when we will reach October, we will just really focus more on the holiday season. But again, stay aligned with the company message.
So do you just simply add more product as the seasons roll by, or do you remove product and put new product up? So as you just said, like the fall and then into the holidays. So will things that were on in June and July and August come off, or does the list just get longer?
No, some that make sense within the season and have been extremely popular will remain, and some can stay all year long. But then there will be more of a target of a season for the holiday season, for instance.
So you're monitoring the things that are performing well and people are buying, and things that are either completely seasonal and should come off, or just are not good sellers. You just say, okay, that can come off and make room for something else.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. And then what are we talking about time, Laurence? So, for instance, if you're going to get ready to make your selections for the holiday season, is this getting down a rabbit hole and spending 4 hours on websites finding products, or is it a process that I put aside an hour and I get it done? How time consuming is it?
I put aside an hour, maybe sometimes, it could be an hour and a half, 2 hours, if it's really a very specific area that I will be looking for. And then I did new vendors. So I really will take the time to understand what does this new vendor offers, but it pretty much come easily. And I would say that's what it is.
Has it gotten
1 hour or 2 hours per month, monthly? This e-boutique is reviewed. Yes,
okay,
definitely.
Monthly, it's reviewed. And has it gotten easier for you as the months go by and you understand not only the process, but getting a little bit more critical and clear on the products that you select?
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
It's
I would
easier.
think there's a
Yes,
curve
yes.
there that gets better.
Curve.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so the thing about this is that you at this point are spending, say, 2 hours a month doing it. You have your webmaster who has to do her part in it, where she uploads the pictures and the products and the links and everything.
Yes.
Is there anything more that's happening from a time standpoint? Are we going to attribute 2 hours of her time, or is it more like 5 or 8 hours of her time to put the new product on each month? What are we looking at there? Any idea?
I would say for her, maximum 2 hours, not even.
Okay.
I would say,
Okay.
so used to doing this. I guess yes, maybe 2 hours because of a layout.
Right. The site is set up. Right.
And
The template and the framework is there, and she's just changing and adding. So and you shared with me off air that a year or so into this, that you are earning anywhere from $500 to $1,000 a month from the affiliate marketing at this point. And you also shared that, hey, day one it wasn't that, right?
Yes.
But at this point, we're talking about trading 4 hours of time for $500 to $1,000. And I would imagine another year from now, even if it was $1,000 to $2,000, it's the same 4 hours. And so this goes back to your original meeting with yourself and your advisory board and saying, I want to look at something that creates a revenue stream that I don't necessarily have to be present for 40 hours a week like I do a luxury project, but I can bring money in on the side. That goal of having multiple revenue streams.
Yes, and that is one of them. And I would say that, as Leslie explained, on your show, Save a Partnership, it's a long-term project, and it all has to do with also your number of followers, your number of website visitors, same with your blog. How do you grow your list and how do you grow your followers, on your groups, on social media, Facebook, your Instagram followers. And soon, once you reach a certain threshold on Instagram, you can actually put them there as well. You can also put your affiliated links on Pinterest. So it's just, how much can you put that visibility? I should also add that some of these affiliated blogs are always on my blog as well as my newsletter, and they are not the same as the ones on the e-boutique. So it's just like it's a constant project, and it's a fun project. I mean, for me, picking these items, whether they're online or it would be in person in a showroom, is a fun process. You have to love doing that, and it has to come easy to you, I would say. That definitely helps.
Right. So you enjoy it, like you love to shop to begin with. You love to find and find that select those beautiful things that okay, I love that. I love that. That's another aspect of it. And what I didn't ask, so we didn't take into account, is we have your 2 hours a month. We have your webmasters 2 hours a month. But who is doing, we also know that you are creating the 2 blogs a month and the newsletter, okay, the content for that. So that's a couple of hours, I'm sure, each week or month, whatever. But who's doing all that back end, connecting and pinning into the blog and all of that? Is that your webmaster, that she's doing that for you as well? Or do you have a different consultant that does that?
No, I have a different consultant, but I should say that I have a very big input in that. Sure. Because I actually really truly love doing that. I have a passion for this. My assistant has also a very good skills for these, so she has an input definitely on Pinterest and Instagram, and is really successful skills in there. So we always there's a whole editorial program. I'm not sure that's part of the question, but that is because actually it all goes together. It's all part of the marketing aspect of the company. and it is, the online voice and direction. So the blog, the newsletter, and the social media are part of it. And so we plan in advance what will be the editorial, content of the blog, of the newsletter, and the social media. What are we going to talk about, what and when? And again, that then refers to my schedule. Where will I be in October? Where will I be in January? In October, I'll be in High Point. In January, I'll be in Paris. Then, later on in April, I'll be in Milan. So, how do we plan around these events, and how do we plan the content around these, not only trade shows, but then the projects that are coming between, and all of that has to align with the messaging and the brand, and where does the business go.
I love that. So what you're saying is that when you sit down at a particular meeting, say in June, you will look, and you and your marketing team and your social media team and your assistant will look and say, okay, Laurence is going to be in High Point in October. She's going to be in Milan in January. So blog content around this, we could say getting ready to go to High Point, or we can take the approach of what I learned in High Point and la, 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 la. So we're actually literally planning it out many, many weeks and months in advance. And of course, maybe the week after High Point, it's what I found in High Point. Then it's the getting ready for the holidays, all the typical things that we all do. But it's you are taking a complete helicopter 360 view of your business as a year-long thing. And all the components are coming into it, from the blog to the newsletter to the Pinterest to the IG strategy to everything.
Absolutely. Yes, exactly.
It's a lot. That's amazing.
But I think it goes back to the system. The system. You have to know where you go. You have to be strategic. Without strategic thinking, where do you go? Yes. And how can you design? We talk about designing rooms, designing environments, spaces. But we have to know how to design a strategy as well. It's if you make a parallel, it's like you design your business, and you design, where you'd like to go, and just schedule it, put system in places and make it happen.
I love it. I just recently had such a nice little quick afternoon at Columbia College in Chicago, and I spoke to a classroom of interior design students, and their professor is Renee King, and Liz is one of my podcast listeners who set this up for me, and it was so fun. And I literally just said to them, listen, you design the rooms that you're working on, right? Design the career you want to have. It's so funny because I literally said that 2 days ago. And I said, sit here and think about it. Do you want to come out and work for an AD 100 firm? Do you want to have your own firm? Do you want to, do you want to work in a suburb of some part of America and just be part of a team that designer is important to that community of 40 or 50,000 people or 20,000? There's all different ladders and all different ways to look at a design career. I said, but think about it now while you're in school. Design that the way you're going to design the room that you're going to work on tomorrow. So that's so awesome. We totally share that philosophy.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
I mean, what it is when I speak with people like yourself, Laurence, that are very smart and very strategic, it never surprises me that every little nuance of your business that I ask you a question about, you are consistently going back to, well, we planned it that way. Well, that's part of the strategy. Well, what do you mean, Luann? How do I not know what to do with that? Because in August I was thinking about it. So it takes a lot of work to do that, though. It really does take a lot of work. And of course, we heard at the beginning of the show how you put the brakes on 4 times a year to do exactly this, like you said, to reassess the goals that you set, reassess if you've met them, if you are on track, if you need to revise them, if you need to make pivots. pivots, right? These are all things that you do every 4 months, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Every 4 months. I mean, we go from Q1 to Q4, but and on all aspects of a business, yes, how to run the business, where do the tasks go for each team? I mean, I have a system. I have a weekly system, of, how at the beginning of a week, we refer to the quarterly objectives, how we have a meeting on Monday morning, this is where we go. We review that list, that task list. We go over, with each team, the online team in the afternoon, the local, more traditional team, the morning. And then by the end of the week, we review that list. We have an end of a week meeting, but we also, start to think about what needs to happen next week, and so therefore when you take it over the next week, we're ready for, we've already thought through of some aspects that need to follow up, what else needs to be, what are the other objectives, and so on. I mean, that system is put in place. But as you said, yes, it is a lot of work in the sense of you have to constantly think and keep that overview of 360 degrees, where is the business going? What do I want to achieve? And what are we achieving, and where are we at, and where do we need to pivot? That sometimes we are going to reach. We're actually at a certain time right now. It's I think we're reaching that point. Well, I'm going to High Point. This is going to be my first time at High Point.
Really?
As a design tour blogger, which I'm really very happy.
Oh, congratulations! Good for you. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, but that's it. But I want to go back onto your question about the social media. We're working with Andrew Joseph, and we're going to work with his team, his social media team, Reach. Andrew Joseph Reach. So that's going to be definitely a plus as well.
Yes, Andrew Joseph PR here in New York City. He was on the show. I'll put the episode in the show notes for sure. A tremendous asset to our industry and a great friend to me. I just adore this man. He is something else. And we were all together a couple of weeks ago at Future Home, all of us, right?
Yes. What a great conference. I mean, it's like, talk about, this is what I love is actually, the importance of creating this think tank, and this big time of reflection, of bringing people from outside the industry, and these entrepreneurs, these business executives, and let them share and share with us, designers or within the design industry, what is happening, is happening right now, but also how do they work, how do they think, and take some. There's a lot of key takeaways to take from that. I love this type of conferences.
Well, it's the truth, because it cements what you have done with your business, which is to think about it before you launch it and to create it and design it to your liking, to your lifestyle, to your visions and to your goals. And you gathered people inside and outside of the industry to help and advise you. And as you go through your career, each of us, we need to continue to do these things, to go to conferences, to go to coaching events, to do the things that get us out of our own brain. Because so often it's one sentence from somebody and you just say to yourself, oh my goodness, like you just opened the door and now I get it. If you are in your own world, in your own studio with the same people who may be rock stars, and I'm sure are, but you do need to just put your head up, look around, and engage with other professionals inside and outside the industry to make your brain think and to realize what's possible.
Yes, absolutely.
And engage with the world and see what else is possible. And I just have to say, I am so insanely impressed with you, Laurence, and I can't thank you enough for sharing, your journey with us and just really, this is the testament, you see, because first of all, look, that you've come to this, as you said, it's your third career, right? Not your first. Okay. So you bring that body of experience. And I did, I just wanted to say too, I saw on your website the video, and I love that you said leading a design project is like choreographing a dance, because that is one of your careers, that you were a professional dancer and you taught dancing and all of that, right? So I think that's awesome. But that is the thing. So there are two types of designers out there. One that just is coming out of school, first career, and another that is a second or a third career. But the reality is that both of them, if they want to be really achieving a level of success in 18 months or 2 years, it's all available to you, whether you're 25 or you're 45. You just have to do it. You can't say, there's no work, I don't know what to do, right? You sit down and you plan for it. And that is the huge message of your podcast here today, Laurence. And I just love it.
Oh, thank you so much.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for sharing it with us today. I appreciate it so much. You have a great day, okay?
Thank you so much, Luann, and thank you for all the podcasts and the work you do. It is always so inspiring and so educational.
Before I share my takeaways about this episode, did you hear we have a new sponsor to the podcast? Yes, we do, Kirsch. You've probably heard of the Kirsch name and brand because they are a trusted 100-year-plus company in the window treatment industry, which offers a variety of window treatment products. They are probably best known for their drapery hardware. And over the last several months, they have made many new innovations to their drapery hardware, like the Breeza motorized rod systems, as well as new introductions and revitalization to their metal and wood rod collections. The company may be over 100 years old, but they are on the move, designing, improving all that they do so that you can rely on them for quality and beauty. Go to Kirsch.com today and find a distributor in your area, or you can always contact your local window treatment retailer who can also show you the full line and all the fantastic products that they have to offer at Kirsch.com. Kirsch.com. Okay, so Laurence, it's kind of hard to believe that the business is under 2 years old, isn't it? Well, there is one thing. I mean, you do have to think about that she has a full career behind her, not only in other fields, and she's worked in the field of dance. She had her own dance studios, but she also worked at a prestigious design firm here in New York City. She's learned the ropes, both in business and in design. And I've said it before, in my experience of interviewing nearly 500 people at this point, there does seem to be a noticeable difference when you do internships or you spend time, and I mean years, working for a successful, well-established firm before going out on your own. Out of the gate, you are working with high-end clients, learning how to work with the super luxury market. And that is different. The standards are different. The expectations are different. And notice I'm not saying that the standards or the expectations are higher. I really believe that every client deserves 100% commitment to customer service, to your best creative work, to the best of you. However, the upper luxury market has a language of its own and an expectation that is unique to the way they experience who they work with and who they choose to work with, right? So now I'm not saying that you can't come out of the gate running, starting with your own firm, but I am saying that typically this is a terrific way to shorten the time that it takes for you to be successful in your own right, is what I'm saying, okay? Now, I know that many of you have achieved great success pretty quickly out of the gate and have really broken into the luxury market despite not having years working for someone else or years having your own interior design firm, okay? Lindsay Cheek of Gathered in New York, in North Carolina comes to mind for number one, okay? So I know that it's possible. So there are always exceptions to the rules, okay? But there is... what it is there seems to be no exception that when you choose this path of working for someone else, especially a high-end, well-run, tight ship, that you are literally cutting that learning curve, okay? Now, how about her advisory board? Don't you just love that? I love that. I personally know how valuable this is. I'm very lucky to have it organically. Okay. Now understand, I'm 38 years in business. So organically is over 38 years, right? Like gathering my team, my people, right? So I have the Vin Man, of course. I have Nicole Heimer over these last 4 years, which has been a great gift to my life, a terrific sounding board. Also, Nancy Gansikaufer is a great gift in my life. Our CPA has been by our side as a confidant and as someone that we bounce ideas off of for all the 38 years that we're in business. And then there's my cousin Eileen Hahn, who is literally the person that's on speed dial for me. And of course, I have my Exciting Windows crew, all of my colleagues at Exciting Windows that are there and doing the same business that I'm doing every day, inside and out, and they're right there to help me and bounce ideas, okay? So these are the people in my world who each have a superpower that's different from mine. And when I need, help getting an idea, these are the ones I go to. So who do you go to? If you don't have a trusted circle of entrepreneurs, you can, just as Laurence did, formally ask people to be on your advisory board, right? Give it a thought. It takes a village to do everything in this life, let alone run a business and be an entrepreneur. So, an advisory board is sort of getting yourself a little insurance for the ride. And I love it because it really is a great gift to have someone look at you from the outside in and be truthful with you and tell you that's a crazy pants idea or you are onto something. Okay. So the other big takeaway from Laurence is the purpose that she has in creating diverse revenue streams for her business through her e-commerce site, right? So she's not putting all her eggs in one basket. She is purposely designing different revenue streams. Now, we've had a few shows lately dealing with this. I have to say, it's becoming the new topic. It just keeps coming up, all right? Just in the last 5 or 6 months, new revenue streams, diverse revenue streams. This is not a new idea. This is as old as time. But all of a sudden, it seems to me, every time I turn around, another designer is giving this some thought and investing money and energy and resources into creating it. So if you're interested in this and you want more information on this topic, I would go to episode 209 and number 458. These are with Leslie Carruthers of Savor Partnership, 209 and 458. I would also recommend that you listen to number 474 with Bria Hamill. And I would also add to that list number 476 with Amanda Hamilton. All righty. So what are you going to do today? All right. I know I ask you every darn time. I hope you always have an answer. I really, truly do. I hope that every time I get to this point in the show and you hear me say, so what are you going to do today? That something comes to mind. And then I hope even more than that, that you actually do that something. Okay. I really, 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 really want you to decide every day to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at luannigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.